the Omnitrix.
Alright, let me see. Okay. Make sure that the echo isn't on. We don't want to repeat it the last video. God damn, bro. I never noticed, bro. Anyway, the 7th level of the Omnitrix. Let's go. Start.
Level 1. The sketch.
The sketch is an
Wait, what? Whoa. What exactly are we talking about? About how the concept of the Omnitrix, like the guy that created Ben 10, worked on it? Like, cause what does he mean?
Omnitrix that isn't quite like the one that we got in Classic. However, it is one of the most fresh and new ideas from the mind of Azimuth. The perfect watch that falls into this category is the Unitrix, debuting in the episode The Transmogrification of Unis.
What is going on, bro? I mean, I know there was like a lot of Omnitrix. Like there was like the green one, the red one, and I think that's the only two I know. That's the only two I know, honestly. I didn't watch Benton that much. I used to watch it, but like I didn't watch a lot of it. Man, anyway, like I'm so confused. The sketch.
This watch can only store one DNA sample as its means of transformation. It has a design that strongly resembles the core of the Omnitrix with no faceplate.
That is shit. Only one fucking alien can be
Or
stored.
watch dial to display different selectable DNA samples. Currently, it only stores a singular human DNA sample, which is now known as Eunice. She has actually been a combination of human and Anonite DNA, and she has this weird ability to absorb DNA and use their special abilities. The sentient
You
DNA
don't need
shifter.
other DNA. You don't need other aliens though. But yeah, that's what I always thought about this. The Omnitrix uses DNA of aliens. But technically, aliens, like let's say you come from another planet, for you, us, humans, would be considered aliens, right? Because alien is anything, a race foreign to the race of a planet. I don't know if that sounded right or not, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? So that would mean for other races in the universe, humans would be alien. Doesn't that make the word alien kind of racist though? I don't know, bro. Sometimes I'll be having the weirdest thought pop up in my mind, bro. I don't know, bro. I'm weird. God damn,
has absorbed many things such as arachnochimp DNA, rabbits, snakes, and even bears, giving her remarkable powers, but only for a short period of time, and only one ability at a time per absorption. This is the Omnitrix in its infancy, but we can see this plainly in even the design, as it is just an Omnitrix core. However, the way it matures into becoming a living, breathing person, who has the hots for Ben by the way, is quite interesting. It only gets better.
They weren't together?
Better though once this core gets slotted into a watch wristband, giving us
Level 2. The prototype.
This is the prototype watch that we got in a classic series, debuting in the episode and then there were 10.
So the core was by itself at first, then it was injected into the wristband, and it became better. Now he can store 10 aliens?
And this Omnitrix is the first design that made its way to Earth. Originally intended for Max Tennyson, this watch came with a starting playlist of 10 aliens. However, it ended up containing about 23 or 24 by the end of Ben's first 2 years of usage.
What? So I thought it could only store 10, therefore Ben 10. Alright, man, I'm confused.
This Omnitrix has a numerous amount of functions unlike the previous versions of the watch. It came with a function that would revert the user after a set amount of time back to their original form, whether it be human or otherwise. And it also came with a function to scan and unlock new DNA that the watch has not come in contact with. Along with that,
I don't remember that. I do not remember this, bro. This shit back yonders away, bro. I do not remember that shit.
It did come with a major defect, which was housing a living sample of an ectoneurite, which ended up being a huge problem for Ben Tennyson. Speaking of defects and problems, we even got an entire movie centered around the watch's self-destruct function, which was activated accidentally by a DNA shifter device created by Dr. Animal. The watch itself evolves.
I might need to go back and watch Ben 10, bro. What the fuck is all of this? I do not remember this, bro. God damn.
Into the future, having grown in size and containing a gauntlet-like glove on the arm of the user. We
the
see
fuck
this
is
in the
that?
episode Ben 10,000 and Ken 10. This version of the matured Omnitrix now negates the function of staying in a single alien form at a time and also the timeout function. It now has access to mental transformation
Ben?
without even touching the watch, known as Master Control. This is where a bigger playlist of the Omnitrix even comes out, as a multitude of aliens have been unlocked here. But it still rendered transformations in a different way from watches to come.
Ben is a super. Oh yeah, I'm so lost, bro. I don't remember this. I don't remember any of this, bro.
It's maintained the white Omnitrix symbol on aliens, placing the symbol at various locations on each transformation, and it's also created the black and white blended aesthetic of clothing onto each transformation.
Oh wow,
Ben
he
10,000
got way more
Omnitrix
control.
does actually have another new feature that most don't know about, which is the nanotech enhancements.
Nano what?
These have been added in the strengthening of these aliens, making them better for combat. However, it gets beaten by another version of the same prototype, which is
Level 3. The augmentation.
this Omnitrix is still a version of the prototype
Who the fuck is that? Is that still Ben? Who the fuck is that, bro?
watch, with two major transformations and changes for the aliens, only existing in the reboot universe. We first have the Omni Enhanced, which is a pseudo-fusion of full mini DNA or shock rock DNA with the main playlist of aliens, giving us all new electrified aliens with new abilities centered around shock rock's electrokinesis. Prime
Alright, so this version of the Omnitrix fuses aliens? Because he said a shock rock and aliens were boosted by that. So that means that the aliens absorb the shock rocks to make the aliens strong. Oh man, I'm so confused.
example would be gray matter, now gaining a massive rock exoskeleton along with electrokinetic arms. Sort of like a mechanical transformation, but
What
out of
the
electricity and
fuck
rock.
is happening?
These are all abilities centered around
Yeah,
enhancing
alright,
combat
so
and
it
making them
fuses aliens with shock rock. I don't know what that is.
a stronger fighter, plus toy sales.
Accelerate with lights!
This doesn't stop here though, as it actually
Is
had
Ben 10
real
still
negatives.
popular? Because back when I was younger, it was really popular. Kids used to, all the kids watched Ben 10. Now is it still popular though? I don't, because I don't see much of these play figurines and all of that.
Side effects,
Ben 10.
as it ended
Before
up
you
being
used to
a
see a lot of
conduit for
them.
the full
Everybody had an Omnitrix, bro. The Omnitrix that did the light, like you could insert the disc and like when you turn it, change the alien and you could point it on the walls. Bro, that was so popular back then, bro. Everybody had one.
mini alien race to invade Earth, which wasn't so good. However, after that function disappeared from the Omnitrix, Ben unlocked one that was fully intended for the user, which was the
is?
Omni Kicks mode. Being only accessible
Omni
from
what?
the Omnitrix key, this mode gives the user new armors at the cost of their time in alien form. Each of these armors would
I'm so
significantly
confused.
enhance these aliens in their abilities and would round out their weaknesses in their combat styles. Prime example would be giving forearms and humongosaur projectile abilities, or increasing the
wow.
ability of Cannonbolt to generate kinetic energy, which would increase his damage output.
I'm
These
dead ass
transformations
lost.
also compound further into being the Omni-Naut forms, which are the most suitable forms for space travel, not only in alien form but in human form as well. This mode is actually the one thing to close the gap on the Antitrix, which is the watch that Kevin 11 has. However,
Okay, now I see. And I remember the red one that I did not remember its name, the Antitrix.
only the Omni Kicks mode
But
was a
no.
true
He said Kevin 11. Ben also had a red watch. He also had there was also a Ben with white hair and a red fit. I'm
upgrade
so
for the
lost, bro.
Omnitrix. Well, until we see.
Level 4. The updated.
This is the recalibration of the Omnitrix that we only got our first look at in the episode Ben 10 Returns at the start of Alien Force. This was an update that
Alien
changed
Force.
and warped the classic Omnitrix into a sleeker and slimmer design that transformed many things from the watch that we knew prior. Firstly, we got
Which
a
is-
fresh new aesthetic, a
That's
thinner
nice.
wristband, and a different user interface where instead of pushing the button and turning the dial and then pushing it back down again for transformation, the Alien Force Omnitrix worked by pushing the two side buttons, having the dial come up, and a new
Oh.
holographic display feature that would show
Nice.
the aliens. Once that is pushed down,
You
the
crushed the
transformation
hologram. That's
sequence
kinda
would
fucked
occur.
up, but alright.
However, before we get into that, I must also note that this playlist has now moved from 24 aliens to now being a brand new 10 aliens. Now, this transformation sequence does something the classic Omnitrix never did, which is an instantaneous memory download or update into the user. Now, this isn't
What? What does that mean? Does it send information into Ben's head of the alien's ability? Because I remember that he had to figure it out when he was younger.
completely confirmed canon, but based
don't
on how
get
the
it.
classic Omnitrix operated with new
Oh, that
aliens
is tough.
versus the Alien Force Watch, we can confidently deduce this because of two major things. You
Which
see,
is?
Ben always screams the name of his aliens, even when he's transforming into them for the very first time.
Rainstorm!
And the way Ben displays his immediate knack of understanding of these aliens' abilities
That's what I thought.
within a matter of seconds is what informs
what-
this theory of the complete download of the alien abilities upon transformation.
That's what I thought.
A few new things that come with this watch though, besides the new user interface, are new, more powerful and diverse aliens. Some of them are theorized to be fusion abilities of previous aliens, like
Oh.
Big Chill being the combination of Ghost Freak and Arctiquana,
What
and
the
Swampfire
fuck is
being the
that?
combination of Heat Blast and Wildvine. But
Oh,
it
I
doesn't
remember
stop
this
there,
one.
as the new Omnitrix comes with more user-friendly things that shield the user from being hacked. Firstly are the new codes that Ben has gotten access to through Azimuth that have not only been able to lock the users out of accessing the watch like what it did to Vilgax, but has also been able to lock users out of transformations such as Alien X. This has also been able to help Ben remove the
Oh,
watch
Alien X. I heard that's like Ben's most powerful alien, and this alien can solo a lot of fiction. But I'm having a bit of a hard time understanding what he says, bro.
in a
I'm
moment's
just-
notice, and also set the watch to self-destruct. Final new setting that I believe the watch does come with that I've never seen in the prototype is the failsafe sequence that automatically keeps Ben alive. A prime example of
Oh,
this
wow.
is when Ben fought in the episode Vengeance of Vilgax, and he died while being in the transformation Chroma Stone. He was subsequently revived as a Petrosapien. I still do
Wow.
think that Chroma Stone being the key to reviving the Petrosapien planet does play a bigger role in this, but I still think the Omnitrix
This
function
man can
played a huge
revive. He got a Dragon Ball wish Uncle Man when he gets destroyed, bro. That's crazy. What the fuck? what
part
the
in
hell?
that. This watch is a near perfected version of the Omnitrix.
Yeah.
Well, until it went kaput and we needed a replacement.
Level 5.
Are you dead
The
ass, bro?
Gladiator.
There you go. I was talking about this guy. What the
This
fuck?
version of the Omnitrix was quite the collaborative product between Azimuth and his protege Albedo. Albedo created his own model of what he wanted the watch to do, which was create aliens that were the best for fighting. You see, it has a function that allows aliens to undergo a rapid evolutionary cycle that has
Oh,
them come out
wow.
at the end as the species that are primed for combat. And ultimately,
That is crazy. Like, you turn into the alien, but then you can make it evolve into a form like that's tailored for combat. That is wild, bro. That is crazy.
alien, if
The
you'd
watch
like
is
to
ugly as fuck, but it's crazy.
Call it
Its
that.
its abilities.
Say that again.
We got our first look at the idea of going ultimate in the episode The Final Battle, where Humongosaur collects his 15th Alien Force L and gets dog walked in a matter of seconds, not even getting to lay a finger on Albedo in his ultimate Humongosaur form. This watch is the
Damn.
direct, corrupt display of strength and raw power, following through on the philosophy of might makes right. It has only given us about 8 unique ultimate
Oh,
aliens
wow.
from
There's
Ben's time with the watch,
ultimate
and each of them
forms.
were a true terror to behold. Well, except Wildmont, that alien was an epic waste of time. This version of the Omnitrix
Must
did
have been
come
ass, bro.
with a few new functions, which included a scan function that could be done remotely instead of by contact, similarly to the recalibrated watch, which responded to codes, a deactivation function that could be used by Azimuth to fix the watch, and it came with an alien sentience mode, sort of like the Chakitrix in a sense, that
What
could
the
create
fuck is that?
real
What the fuck was that? Oh my god.
live ultimates. I mean, this was really a byproduct of just bad design by Albedo, and they actually threatened Ben's life and almost killed him. Ben ended up losing the Ultimatrix at the end of the show and received something completely new.
Level 6.
Oh.
The Perfected.
This Omnitrix
That one looked nice. I'm not gonna lie. That one
is
looked
the watch
crazy.
that led the series of Omniverse. This perfected Omnitrix had a complete overhaul of everything that we had known before.
Whoa.
Firstly, no ultimates. Secondly, having access to every transformation up until this very moment. And thirdly,
Ooh.
a
So he didn't lose all the other aliens that he had already gathered, like the alien DNA that he gathered in the other season.
plethora of new aliens came into the watch. along with a final brand new user interface, which was an odd circular holographic
Ooh.
function that would enable the user to access the aliens by sliding their fingers over
Yeah,
the
that's
faceplate
nice.
and
That's
then
nice.
pushing down on the Omnitrix core once they've selected what they want. This watch does also compound on previous functions, like having an even more remote scan function that can collect DNA once the user is relatively close to the new catalog. It also has
Wow.
functions like the randomizer function, which forces Ben to shift between alien transformations randomly, and
That's
an
kinda shit.
improved version of the failsafe function that will cycle through the entire catalog rapidly in order to keep the subject alive. This can happen within a fraction of a second, as it did when Ben tried to face tank the Big Bang. This version of the Omnitrix
Big
is
Bang.
literally perfect in every way, as it also compounds
Yeah,
on a
that
little known
sound
factor of the
perfect.
watch, which is how it creates prime versions of every species.
Wait,
Take
what?
for example, Kicking Hawk, which was created from this chicken guy, which moved him from being an average Joe Schmo villain into being Ben's best hand-to-hand combat alien. This
Wait, what? It creates a what does that mean? It creates a better version of the alien?
version of the Omnitrix is a real marvel. However, Ben himself was never truly satisfied, and in the future, he ended up having to do this.
Level 7. The Hack.
The Biomnitrix is a Ben 10,000 artificial creation, which compounds even more on the completed version of the Omnitrix. It does
What?
something very unique, which is to use a gimmick or a principle from the episode Dr. Animo and the Mutant Ray to create new transformations, or what we would know them as fusions, creating various fusions.
Wait, Ben hacked into the Omnitrix and made it better? Ain't the Omnitrix some like galactical weird shit, bro? Like you need to be hella smart to mess with that shit.
Fusions like Upgrade, Big Chuck, and Atomic X, which is a fusion of a Celestial Sapien and Atomics. This watch is primed for combat and combat versatility, as the Omnitrix not only has endless aliens, but now has endless combinations. This
He
is
can even
only
fuse
more
aliens.
perpetuated by the fact that Ben has full access to master control for this device, only
Wow.
needing to think of the combinations and press the two gauntlets together. A pretty unknown fact though is that
Oh, that's nice. You don't waste time circling. You think like, oh, okay, this alien, bam, transform. That's kind of lame, but you should be like, think of the alien, snap, transform. You don't need. That's kind of shit. I'm not gonna.
that each Omnitrix gauntlet can select a single alien and give Ben an unfused transformation, but Ben 10,000 literally never uses that.
Oh, okay. Basically, one for each. Think of of aliens. Bam, fusion. Oh, damn, that's smart.
A major functional issue
kinda
that
smart.
does come into play with this watch is that it can be knocked out of commission by solar EMPs, which is quite interesting since it's the first time I've ever seen an Omnitrix be deactivated by something that isn't a timeout
That's
or
Gwen
a
in the
forced
future. Yeah, she fucked up.
reversion. But there's another cool Omnitrix that is about as canon as Grandpa Max with the watch, and this is the Omnitrix Delta. I'm pretty sure anyone would want to find out how that one works.
Maybe another time, because this is already a lot of information to process.